This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
We used to just use Schlage and get the extension kit, but I can't find them anymore.
An extension kit for what lock?
It was just a regular Schlage lever. That's what we always used to use, but I can't find them anymore.
I've never bumped into an extension kit for a Schlage lever. Those locks they're built for extended door thicknesses. If it was it a knob or was it you said it was a lever?
It was a lever. It was just a lever, yeah.
So what series of lock was it, or what did the lock originally cost?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's probably been 10, 12 years since I built one.
Yeah, I don't recall those ever existing. So you want to have access control over a 3-inch thick gate.
It's a door, but yeah, same thing.
A door. Okay,
yep.
A door.
Yep.
And now you're looking for a lock, and you're like, man, options are limited.
Yep. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you can do it. It's just there's a number of ways to do it. None of them are going to be probably what your decade or plus year old memory tells you that it should cost, or that you believe it costs. So, what is going to be the load in this electric circuit?
Well, it's going to be run from a keypad, and it has an electric strike. So I just need a basic door lock, I don't need anything special. Just a regular...
You do because you have a 3-inch thick door.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing I need. That's the only special request I have.
And that's where I'm.
Right.
That's why my phone is ringing. Okay. So, so the question is, so did you say electric strike?
Yes, there's electric strike built into, which doesn't have anything to do with the door lock.
It has everything to do with the door lock. Yeah, it does. So, do you know the model number of the electric strike that you have?
The electric strike calls for just a regular door lock, lock. It has nothing to do with the door lock.
It has everything to do with the door lock.
Why is that?
Well, we're going to get there, but I make a living selling access control hardware, locks, door closers, low voltage locksmithing. So let's just go with the flow here.
Okay.
It has everything to do with the door lock. Now, do you know the part number of the electric strike that you already have?
I have no idea because the gate guy is doing the automation.
Going to supply it. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason that that's important is because the depth of the keeper on electric strikes and the shape is made for the lock that you intend to put on it. So in order to funnel down the options on what sort of lock you can put on there, we have to know the electric strike that they're going to use. Meaning, if we want to use lock A, but the electric strike is incompatible with that,
right?
Who's at fault? So you're going to want to know. We're going to want to know that. We can make a safe assumption that it's a garden variety Adams Wright 7000 series. Nothing special about it. Okay.
Well, I know the electric strike box that he sent me is a Kedix.
A what now?
A Kedix. Kedix.
Yeah, the weldable electric strike. Yeah. We sell those.
So it's for a Trin EN400.
Okay, so someone's obviously providing a Trine EN400. That's a great electric strike. It's not what I
Okay.
would necessarily use in all instances, but a great option. Okay, that tells us everything. That tells you. So the answer to the question is you do know the model of the strike because only a Trine EN400 will work in that box. That's awesome.
Okay. Yep, that's what it says. I just, because he gave me the electric box, the welded box. So I had just opened it up, and here we go. There's our info.
Are you the one building the door?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you making the door out of?
It's 3x6, 3/16 wall feed steel.
So it's rectangular steel tube. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Okay.
3-inch.
So it's
yep.
Right, 3-inch, and then you got a 6-inch face. That's great because we're not going to be constrained now.
No, we got tons of room.
So what do you want to have on the door when you go up and grab it to pull it open? You want a knob? You want a lever? You want a pull handle?
Just a lever. Just a lever.
So let's go down the rabbit hole of a lever. In today's world, the options of lever locks, storeroom obviously, because you've got an electric strike, are now extremely limited. Only and Schlage and all the other people have discontinued their locks that would work on thick doors.
Okay.
Schlage still makes their ND series, and it can be special ordered for 3-inch. What I just said is probably $1,000.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah. So
that's way out of my budget, but
of course
what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well, we're going to get an answer that is within budget. So you could also do a mortise lock. Those are super awesome because it's extremely heavy duty, very robust. You can do it for almost 3 inches easy. What I just said is also $1,000, if not more. Now, what you could do inexpensively is, are you familiar with slam locks in the sense of Schlage makes, Kwikset used to make, other people make a deadbolt, but it's got a latch on it. So you could order the Schlage's B250 series for a 3-inch thick door. It'll have a longer tailpiece, tailpieces. And you can put that on that 3-inch thick door. That's no problem. What I just said is probably $350.
Okay.
So here's another idea. You could take the latch bolt only from that lock and stick it in the edge of the door. You can then add a couple of back-to-back pull handles.
Right.
So you can never retract the latch by turning a lever because there is no lever. And you have got to have access control every time you enter and every time you leave.
Okay, but see, that won't work. When you leave, you won't have access to the keypad.
Yeah, or some means of opening or closing the circuit to get out. Okay. Now, what you could do is you could use typical aluminum storefront hardware, a lock body that you're going to see in any aluminum storefront. An Adams Wright 4900, a 4500, a 4700. Those lock bodies are $100. Let's paint with a broad brush.
I'm on your website. Can I look that up as you're going, or is that going to confuse me?
No. Let me give you. Let me get there. I'm in the shop trying to. I got a CNC that's giving me a driver fault, so I'm trying to get it back together.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, I'm waiting for a process to run, so I'm glad you called. You're helping. I'm glad for the company. So a part number would be 4900.
4900.
That would be representative of the concept. There is also, Adams Wright also has their...
Okay, so this is just a mortise. Right, no big deal. We mortise it into the door.
Yeah, so the standard duty is the 4510. That's it's almost half the price. It's the standard duty lock. Now, you could get that mortised. You could mortise the edge of your tube. You could weld in or screw in mounting tabs. and you can get that sucker mounted. Then at that point,
I have a milling machine, so we can do all that stuff. No big deal.
No big deal. Then at that point, I can sell you a mortise cylinder long enough, so you got key access from the outside. I can sell you a thumb turn long enough for the inside.
Perfect.
So,
and then I just make 2 handles.
And you know what? Yeah, you're right. A couple, like when you walk into Chipotle, just a 8-inch center-to-center D-shaped pole, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy peasy. And what's nice about it is, and you can do a lot of things with those pole handles. You can make them flush poles. You can make them very non-discrete. You can make them giant ladder poles if you want.
I've built so many poles for doors, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, what's funny
Not a problem.
On the CNC, I got an order from Marvel Studios for some TV show I had never heard of, and I've heard of most of them. And they needed these pole handles like now, and the factory was a month. I'm like, well, I can cut them on the CNC, so they paid me to make these custom poles. But it was just 8-inch D-shaped poles. So at the end of the day, what you use for poles doesn't matter.
What do we need? Yeah, the poles, that's not a problem. Piece of cake. We can weld them right onto the door. Just weld them on. Done. What do I need? I need work up what I need.
Well, we just said it. You need a 4510. You need a cylinder for the outside. And then on the inside, how do you want to get out?
To get out, I just want, how would they get out? They would have to put a thumb, huh?
You'd have to have a mortise thumb turn.
You'd have to have a thumb turn and then a key on the outside, and or they use the keypad
on the outside. Or you add an exterior push button on the inside of the opening that will open the circuit or close the circuit, whatever. So they can just hit the button.
They've already got the rock. They've got the rock walls already poured, and that's all done. So that's not an option.
All right. So the downside of this idea is, the upside is it's possibly within budget. The downside is your functionality is not what you had originally anticipated.
Right, because we can't use a lever to unlock it.
Oh, you know what you could do? Check it out. What you could, the door swings out, so when you exit, you're pushing away from you when you egress?
Yes.
Okay, so check this out. What if you, and this is another issue that I wanted to mention, what if you just think of aluminum storefront doors at the mall? They have paddles that you can install where you push or pull in your case, you would push this aluminum paddle, it would retract.
Like a panic bar.
It's a panic bar that's about 4 inches wide, and it's an Adams Wright. I think the part number is 4590. Let me look. They call them push-pull paddles. 4590. 4590. Yeah, 4590. The second item that comes up.
Adams Wright. Okay.
Yep. So you could put a push paddle on there, and you wouldn't even have a cylinder on the inside. It's just a push plate. The downside of that is, if I can reach my hand through or over or around that gate or that door, I'm getting in.
No, it's all solid. I mean, This isn't high security. It's a house, you know. Yeah. It's not. They can jump over the 6-foot wire fence. You know what I mean? It's not high security.
So with this idea, you would have to bias the lock body center line as if you were installing it from the push side on an 1 3/4 thick door.
Yeah, I don't think the architect would go for this push panel.
Okay. And of course this is where we invite the architect to make suggestions.
Well, they have no idea. They just go by look. You know what I mean?
They know what they don't want, but that's why I say it, because they're aggravated. They know what they don't want, but they're not willing to say this is what I do want. But they have no idea what they want. No, they have no idea. No. Yeah. Now, you can actually, wait a minute. Hold the phone, Governor. Let me pull up the Adams Wright catalog. I think you can slap a lever trim on that. And while I'm pulling up the catalog, there is one thing that you have to be mindful of is when you install the lock body on the door, it's very possible that the latch is going to make contact with the wall construction or something on the jamb or the jamb post.
The jamb is a piece of tube steel.
Okay.
And, that's welded to a 1/2-inch plate that's anchored to the concrete.
Okay, so
you have a 2-inch door jamb, basically.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is your latch may hit the jamb prematurely, and the way that would be mitigated would be with a extended lip strike, and they do make extensions for electric strikes, but that ship may have sailed, and you'll figure it out when you get the hardware in your hand. So we actually can stick a lever trim on that lock, and that part number. Let me pull it up first before I give it to you. I might send you on a wild goose chase. Part number 46. There's a petite little lever that can go on there. I've just realized.
That's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, let me just get the part number. You ever talk to somebody and you've said, man, I've forgotten more part numbers than most people have ever learned? That's just
right.
It's just the way it is. All right, okay. 45, 30, that'll work with a trim keyless entry dead latch handle. Maybe this is it. So, nope. Yeah. Okay, search 4560. You can stick that on the inside.
Perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Now, that's going to require that you bias the lock towards the egress side, which means the strike's got to get pulled in your jamb post. So that the center line of the... So your door is 3-inch thick. Normally you would install the lock in the center of the thickness, right?
Right.
You can't with this because that cam plug's not going to get you there. So you're going to have to install it, rather than 1.5 inches off the inside face, you have to install it at 7/8, which means the electric strike has to be scooched in towards the inside of the jamb post.
Which is fine because, like I said, I have, how thick is this thing? This thing is 2 inches deep. So I have room to scoot that in.
Okay, so then you might be in good shape with that.
Yeah, the lockbox is 2 inches deep into the post.
Then the only other issue is you're going to need a much longer cylinder now on the outside. It'll have to be 2.5, or don't quote me. I'd have to think about that. The question becomes what is the longest size we can get our hands on from stock? I have extensions, so what you could do is order the parts and you could extend a mortise cylinder with these parts that I have. Baldwin. Oh. So let me look. Home. Okay. 1.5 inches, 83.25. Okay. I'm just pulling up what the length of the longest stock cylinder is.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, they can go to 2.5. I'm sure 2.5 will be in stock. So 2.5 would be. That's not the size we need. We can get plenty length mortise cylinder since you're biasing that lock towards the inside. So you could do the 4510 lock body, you could do the 4560 handle, You can do a long mortise cylinder on the outside, which is an 8328, whatever it is. And at that point, you've got the electric strike, you've got the box for the electric strike, you've got your switch, your access control. Pull handles, you're either going to buy aluminum pull handles or stainless pull handles from me, or you'll make them. And at that point, you're done.
Yep.
And then you're done. You're not doing the wiring, so you're good.
Nope, that's already installed.
Easy peasy.
All right, let me get back to my office, write down all those numbers that you just rattled off. Thank you.
Unfortunately, 3-inch doesn't break any records.
No, I've built, we used to have a guy that I would get all my locks and stuff from, but they closed up shop. And he was great. He would come and, we'd tell him what we're doing, and he would order everything and keys and everything. So, okay, part numbers.
What happened to that guy?
I don't know if he retired or what.
Yeah, it happens to it. It happens, doesn't it? Retirement.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4510. That's the lock body.
Okay, lock body. Okay.
The handle is 4560.
4560 is the handle.
The cylinder is 8320.
That's the cylinder.
And you've got everything else. When you're ready to order it, call me back and I'll enter the order.
Well, let's do it right now. If you're going to take the order, let's do it.
Yeah. What is the color of choice?
How about like a flat black?
Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Or oil rub bronze, something that blackish color.
Let me take a look at the okay, so a 121, a 119. What I want is 119. Okay, 119 is good, so we're good there. 4510 in a 335. 335. There we go.
Obviously, you're my new go-to guy for this.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it just happens to be, it just happens to be. I see, I made a guy had a 4 1/4 inch thick door, and he wanted a Yale rim lock on it, so I, just welded 2 tail pieces for him, and yeah, it works fine.
Yeah, I've done that for guys too, for contractors. They come in and they're like, what do I do? And I go, well, buy 2 locks and we'll cut them up and make one long, one extended one.
Yeah, and all I needed was longer 1032 machine screws to hold the cylinder on. It was easy peasy.
Right.
I mean, 30 plus years ago, I left community college and started in the family business, but I re-enrolled because we had a big bottleneck in the welding department. So I went back and learned how to weld, and I'll tell you, it's like one of the best life skills anyone can have. At least understanding how welding works, the process.
Yep.
And I have been able to draw on that minor skill that I have over the course of my career to monetize.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Okay, so, and I'm just getting so 2, 1, okay, 8328, okay. Right on. I've got the 3 parts. There's nothing else that you should need. What you just have to do is that lock's got to be biased on the inside like it was an 1 3/4 thick door. It just can't, so you got to offset it. So that's the only thing you got to do. It'll be quite obvious when you get the cylinder, you're like, whoa, that's a honker. That thing's bigger than it should be.
Right.
And you'll lay that out on your bench. Thread the cylinder in, put the cam plug in with the lever, and just measure it, and then you'll strike a center line of the edge of the lock. And that's it. Okay.
Yep.
Easy peasy. Right on. My name is Richard. I'll get the order entered. I'll email you confirmation. It's all in stock. There will be 2 shipments for sure. The cylinder will come on its own, but it'll all start moving your way.
Okay, what do you think? End of the week? Early next week?
I would say about this time next week would be more accurate.
Okay. Are you on the East Coast, or where's it coming from?
I am on the west coast of Florida. So I'm in the Eastern time zone. The cylinder the cylinder should come out of, it may come out of California or it may come out of the Midwest. The lock body and handle for sure is going to come out of New England.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Okay, so the client has a 3-inch thick door. So we went with a 4510 latch, and that's just a generic run-of-the-mill aluminum storefront latch. I think I selected 1 1/8" back set. It doesn't, I think that's what I asked the factory to send. And, you know, this is obviously in the wrong orientation, but let's rotate that. All right, so it's going to look more like that, obviously. His EN400 is going to work with this, his Trine EN400. And if I sounded very complimentary about Trine, it's because I was intending to. The EN400 is a great strike. I've used it lots of times. He obviously had this exterior, this weldable gate box. And I've used the EN400 many, many times without fail. I've used the I just can't say enough about this strike. The EN series product catalog page. Here's why I love it. Grade 1. It's indoor and outdoor rated. And I spec it every single time. It's going to work great for this client's application. And I just can't say enough about the quality of the strike. And I can't say enough about the quality of the tech support people at Trine. There is a gentleman there with an extremely heavy accent. Eastern European, don't know, doesn't matter. I'm just saying that so if you call there and you speak to someone with a heavy accent, that gentleman is pure gold, pure gold. Every time that I've called, I've left a message and I've always gotten a prompt call from that gentleman, courteous, expert in the subject matter, wanting to take ownership, making sure that it's done correctly. So I'm deeply appreciative, and I support Trine at all times because of my experience regarding that. So let's go back to the 4510. I think I hopped out of it here. Yeah. So it's just a mortise body, a latch that's going to be used in aluminum storefront. Put it in a gate. Why not? He'll have to make some tabs for mounting this. For here and here. It'll have to be something not unlike the original mounting tabs, which are seen here. He'll need to get that installed. He's a welder, a metal worker, and he'll be able to come up with tabs for making that, or he can order these and install it that way. I don't think the lock comes with tabs. Okay, so the next piece that we spec'd was a 4560, which is the interior lever handle, and the 4560. Now, there are cam plugs. I believe that there are cam plugs that will allow you to go to thicker doors. I didn't investigate that with the client on the phone at the time. This cam plug, or there may be a thick door kit with this lever. Easy peasy, going to work out super nice. The only issue is going to be that he'll have to bias the installation towards the egress side of the door, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. So let's look at the product catalog. Thick door. In the conversation, I also, because we're on this page, I also mentioned lip extensions. Electric strikes lip extensions exist for electric strikes. They don't for that EN400. So this is what it would look like. You would literally add an extension like this, and I'll show you why you might need it in a moment. Yeah, please consult factory for door up to 3¼ So yes, the answer is yes, it can be done, but we're dealing with now, need it now, need it now. So yes, it can be done for a thicker door. The point of all of that is this. Paint. Yeah, paint. So let's say that the client's got a 3-inch thick door. He's going to have to make that center line of the lock as if the door was 1¾ So the lock, 7/8. 1¾ divided by 2 is 7/8. So we're thinking that the regular door is going to be somewhere around this thick. Okay. Now the issue, here's our latch. The issue is if the door is 3-inch, I'm imagining that the jamb is going to be, we'll just draw it over here for right now. The jamb will be at least 3-inch, the post. So the issue is when I draw it in here, if the jamb is 3-inch, and your EN400 is going to be installed in here, when that door comes to the closed position, that latch is going to be hitting this and dragging across this face until it gets to the strike. That's not ideal. So the client's going to need to understand, the client sounds like they understand this concept. He made it seem like, listen, it doesn't matter if it scrapes across the face of that. So we've got the lock body. Our 4560 is going to be in here. Cam plug will reside here, no problem. Then, as we talked, we needed a longer mortise cylinder. And that's the last part of what we supplied the client. I had mentioned to the client, you may have heard me say that we can make, or the client can make, custom mortise cylinders. And let me explain what that is. I forever forget the part numbers of what I'd like to show in this extension. I'll look for it for a minute. Okay, no, I found it. Okay, so let's hopefully get to a cut sheet, product brochure. So using these extensions and the drive plug or the drive cam, we can make longer cylinders. The issue with that is it takes labor to do that. I've got to get my fixture out. I've got to drill my hole. I've got to tap my holes. By the time I do that labor and then sell the client probably a 3/4 extension or a 1-inch extension and the drive cam, it's a lot of money. What I do in these cases is I use Baldwin cylinders, which I know are stocked at my partners. So let me show you where the Baldwin cylinders are. Manufacturer's page. I think I want to be here. Yeah. Search part number 8325. Probably lots of items are going to come up. So, yeah, about 4 dozen. All right, you'll get to a page where you'll see. Okay, so I'm happy with where we are. So on this page in this 2012 catalog, which is page 127, 8325 is an inch. 8325 is an inch and a half cylinder. That's not long enough. So what length do we need? Well, let's just take a look. What you don't want to be, and I've said this to people, you don't want to be too short. That'll get you in trouble. Too long, we can kind of contend with that. So if we're going to put it at 7/8, that leaves us with 2 1/8 from here to the center line. I like to hold my cylinder out a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch. So I really need a 2-inch long cylinder. Now, the factory didn't have a 2-inch long cylinder. What I really wanted was a 2 1/4. They didn't have a 2 or a 2 1/4, they had a 2 1/2. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the 8330. The client is going to have the 8430, if I can find it. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh, forgive me. It's an 8330. I put an 80. Must be an 8321. Must be the right. No, it's not. 8321. Okay, that's just a cylinder. So I specified the 8430, which is the spring ring. It's this collar and this spring that's here. We then added an 8440 to the job, a 1/4-inch blocking ring that it will sit underneath here. So this and the 1/4-inch blocking ring is going to get him into the range of where the cylinder is going to fit. It'll stick off the face of the door, but at the end of the day, when we're dealing with a very compressed lead time, you got to work with what's in stock. And what made it more interesting was the client wanted black. Well, I can't get 2-inch or 2 1/4 in stock now in black, but we can get 2 1/2 in black. Bingo, we'll take it. We'll add a blocking ring. All of that together should be just perfect for his application. It really should be. I don't think he'll need an additional blocking ring like an 84. I realize here I didn't tell them the thickness of the blocking ring to the order. I will send that message to the vendor that I want the .006. So my blocking ring part number, let me pull that up. 8430 Baldwin. I'll fix it while I'm on the phone right now. That's a Z9605 is my part number. Pull that off screen. Okay, so that 8440 needs to become an 8440.006. So 8440.006. So it's really going to be .xxx.006. The XXX is the placeholder for the finish. So the part number is really 8440.190.006. So I'll let the vendor know that I need the 006 on the blocking ring. And we will save that. We will refresh that page. Here we go. Now it's .006. That's a Z9605. Part minus a Z9605. okay. And that's it. That's everything on the job. Now, the client's going to need a pull handle. I mean, I was recommending something like just something cheap, easy, durable, heavy duty, available, ready to go. The client said he's going to make his own pull handle. Well, I've done that. That cost a fortune to make pull handles. But at the end of the day, you need some way of pulling it open. I'd go with something extremely petite or something as extremely heavy duty as the client might like. Let's wrap up this video on camera. So at the end of the day, there's lots of ways to really put locks onto thicker doors. And part of the purpose of me going through the painful steps of this, and then here's what I just did, and you can consider this, is to show people there are lots of options, but it really depends on what the goal is. Lead time, cost, is that the goal? Okay, that funnels us down. That was the goal of this client. What would have been, for me personally, I would have used a mortise lock in a classroom, in a storeroom function, made for the door thickness, super reliable, super durable. In fact, I would have used a mortise lock by Accurate because I think we can get mortise cassettes from them with non-ferrous base components. That's what I would have used because I'm assuming it's a door, but it kind of does sound like a gate. So I'm thinking this is going to get wet all the time, which is probably why they wanted that EN 400 outdoor rated electric strike from trying. So lots of different ways to get to it. And at the end of the day, if none of these solutions fit, let us know and we'll work on another one. What's most important? What's the operational description? How do you want the door to behave? And then let's just get there. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.